So you know me, I always get really excited when a game comes out and everybody gets attended. I'm just like, can't wait. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. I did not play Uncharted 1, 2, or 3. To be fair, I'm not going to be as invested in these characters as everybody else. Hopefully this review can answer the question, do I have to play Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 before I jump into 4, which I would say no. There will be spoilers all around. So you play as Nathan Drake. He's a younger, quippier Indiana Jones.
Look at that. We struck copper.
Well, you'd be surprised how much this stuff is worth. Client's paying good money for the full cover.
Sure you don't want to just melt it down, make some pennies?
And he's the world's fittest man. With fingertips made of titanium and ankle joints made of adamantium. And he's got his hot wife Elena, you got his brother Sam, and you got the old mustached character who always has the plane. And you follow the four of them on a pretty by-the-numbers, seen-it-all-before treasure hunt. You know, they find a map or an item that leads them from place to place, and they're just hopping around the world, and it's full of betrayal, and there's flashbacks, and you've seen it all before. See, the plot itself doesn't really get good until they actually get to Libertalia. It's when they really start to build and flesh out this, like, huge pirate utopia hidden the island. That's when it starts to get cool.
Avery makes a grand toast. For God and liberty! Arg, ahoy, mateys, all that. And they all take a swig. And just like that, all the treasure of Libertalia becomes the sole possession of two men. These are some of history's greatest pirates, and they all perished in an instant at this very table.
It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And it's weird because the story, it does actually peak with Libertalia. So after that, when they're going off to find Avery's ship and it's just full of treasure, it's kind of underwhelming. You're like, it's a step down. We've already hit the big part of the game. Especially with that quick time event out of nowhere bullshit sword fight with Wraith. But up until then, it wasn't the plot that had me invested. It was the dialogue between the characters. I didn't really care whether or not they found the treasure at the beginning.
All over the headmaster's back.
Hey, what are you telling her?
Just about your little magic phase.
Oh, I hate you.
What was your stage name?
Go on, tell her.
Nate the Great. It's not funny. It makes sense.
In his defense, you were pretty good.
Like, even while you're playing the game, like, there's a really good mission where you're, like, just in a car driving around. That's probably my favorite mission in the game, because it was the most, like, fresh from all the just shooting, climbing. And they're talking about a winch, and that kind of stuff is really entertaining, when they're just, like, talking to each other while you're doing something else. Then there's other times where all they're saying is, jump! You can make it! Come on! Only a little bit more this way. If it had done a lot more of the actual character bonding and talking, that would have been great. There is something cool that's addressed near the end when they all meet up again, and it's like, Sam, come on, let's go home. And he's like, but the treasure's right there. He's like, we didn't come for the treasure, we came for you. He's like, finding the treasure that we've been hunting our life, or go home to safety and peace. And if it had given me, like, an option there, like, do I want to go home or keep going, I would have said go home. It would have been like, Sam, this has consumed you. My hot wife is right. We're gonna go back. And that was a really nice thing that was addressed, but instead of making the characters deal with that, they just separate Sam, and then Nathan Drake has to go get him, but then they just happen to find the treasure along the way. So that was kind of a cop-out. I wanted to see them make and, like, commit to a decision either way. And the whole shoreline thing doesn't really make any sense. Because, you know, Sam was broken out supposedly because of Hector, Alec, whatever his name was, and he had to get the treasure to pay him back, or he would be killed. So that was why he was finding the treasure. Whereas at this point, it was just him working with Shoreline to find the treasure. So at what point did they start shooting at him? Why not just find the treasure with them and split it and everyone would be happy? You would have no game. So Sam just turned away because of arrogance, because they don't deserve the treasure, so he dragged his brother into this? It makes Sam a dickhead. It's also so stupid that they've been trying to kill the both of them the whole way through, and then it turns out that they needed Sam. And Nathan Drake is still like, can we talk about this? While Nadine's kicking him in the balls. It's like, just shoot her, you idiot! But there are a couple, like, really good moments where, like, this feels like the theatrical climactic end to a series where it's just Drake and Elena driving in the Jeep and they're playing the little music. Moments like this are like, alright, that was great. That's the kind of thing you usually see in the final game in a series. I really like Elena though, so when she shows up at the island, it's great. I'm like, yes, I get to pal around with my hot wife. Some of my friends have told me that the ending is very fitting for the franchise, and I haven't played the franchise, but it is nice for the game. I can get it. I can see how it would be a good end to the series, even though I can't actually say that. I started with the story. That was weird. Let's go into the graphics. This game is gorgeous. This is by far the best looking 30 frames per second game I've ever seen. Very, very pretty game. The lighting is freaking fantastic. Like, as you move out of a shadow, like, it looks like Drake is in the sun. That's ridiculous. Vegetation, too. It's nice to have actual, real vegetation in a console game instead of just a bunch of, like, jaggedy X's and lines. And that looks like real paper. And the character models are so freaking good. The game feels a lot like The Last of Us. I assume it's the same engine because it looks like the same engine. And a lot of the environments go for that kind of overgrown civilization look. Though I would have liked a lot more variety in the game's environments. Because you spend like the whole back half of the game in Libertalia and it gets a little repetitive. But oh my god, look at the hair. The hair is amazing. Like every time Rafe is in a cutscene, I get excited and I'm like, turn around, please. Turn around, because the back of his head looks freaking amazing. That looks the back of a real head. I wish the back of my head looked like that. And is his shirt blowing in the wind? Are you kidding me? The only downside on the graphics, I'd say, is sometimes if you pan the camera really quickly, you'll see some like square pixely effects around Drake, and that's kind of annoying. Other than that, though, amazing looking game. But in terms of gameplay, now that I've played it, I really don't see where all the 10 out of 10 comes from. It has to have been the story from people just loving the franchise, because it's a pretty run-of-the-mill third-person shooter. On hard difficulty, the amount of shots it takes to kill enemies and Drake is like good. I'm happy with that. But it gives you so little ammo, and enemies are constantly trying to surround you to like an insane degree. Like the first thing they do when they see you is just like go like that. Like if you tried that in real life, you die. But since it gives me so little ammo, I can't afford to shoot at everybody. Ammo is way too scarce on hard. When you're behind cover, which is a little difficult to get into sometimes, the reticle is like a circle, and if it was a circle the whole time, that'd be fine. But after you start shooting at somebody, it becomes a dot. I'm like, okay, so now I could use the dot to aim, but the dot is jumping around everywhere, so it's like, you need to pick one and stick to it. Either have a dot the whole time or a circle the whole time, because now I feel like I could be more accurate than I am. Because if you take the time while you're out of cover, you can aim and get a good shot now that you have the dot. But by that time, you're already being shot to shit, so your reticle's jumping everywhere, so what's the point of the dot? They need to get rid of the dot, have the circle be the reticle, and just give you enough ammo so that you can full auto the amount of shots it would take for a circle reticle to hit somebody, you know what I mean? The movement's pretty stiff too. Sometimes Nathan Drake just stops for no reason, and that is obnoxious. Sam constantly gets in the way. And this also commits one of the gaming cardinal sins. No sprint button. You can roll like every 8 seconds, but you can't just like Dark Souls roll, because apparently like rolling is what saves you from shooting in this game. Climbing is a nice break from all the really monotonous shooting, but that takes no skill or difficulty. You just follow the clearly painted white rocks. There's a grapple which seems like it'd be fun to use in combat, but it's not stable enough to shoot while on. And you know how gaming critics are always using the word set pieces? You know, like when something's like falling apart under you and you're just sliding around? That got kind of repetitive after the 9th time it happened. I didn't find that the least bit tense or exciting at all. Nathan Drake really likes the word crap.
Oh, crap! Oh, crap! Oh, crap!
Bullshit.
Language.
Crap.
Better.
But occasionally the game will try to do what it thinks are puzzles, and it's like, hey, boost me up. And I'm got really sick of seeing the same animation from The Last of Us of him holding out his 2 hands and someone else going up for a cliff that's just barely out of reach. And then them having to push down a crate for you to just grab and put up against it. Like, really? All that serves to do is slow down the game, where if I was climbing, I could just move past it. That's the other big problem with this game, is that the pacing is horrendous. There were a lot of times where this game just bored me and I didn't want to come back to it. It spends far too much time with just Nathan and Sam just moving through Libertalia. I mean, it's nice to see that it's all big and everything, but like there's a part where I got to like a high point and I'm like, I have to go all the way there. You're gonna make me walk the whole way, aren't you? Ugh. And the game grinds to a halt with these boring as flashback missions. There's some cool story stuff in there about like where the Drake name comes from, but there is got to be a better way to present it than this. Those shadows, though. Also a little immersion breaking, where you go through this like super lengthy climbing section like over and around buildings just to bypass a gate. The cutscenes are a joy to watch, but unfortunately this is one of those games that the cutscenes are so much better than the actual gameplay that when it gives you back control, you kind of groan. That shouldn't happen with a video game. I don't find Uncharted 4 to be all that fun to play. I like the characters, I like where the story was going with them, but maybe if the game had had a less cliche villain and less kind of problems with its story, the story would have been good enough to get over the fact that the game just isn't all that fun. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to give Uncharted 4 A Thief's End a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10?
Which, hey, if you know me, is still pretty damn hard to get to. The fact that the game didn't release broken and buggy as shit is a godsend. Next up on the review plate will be Yoshi's Woolly World, and then Doom. So long, suckers.
Come on, go! Drop the back up! I did already! One more warning! Down on the ground, hands on your head! Gotcha!
Oh shit.